lot of the advice and kind of feedback you're going to get is from people who are not where you want to go. Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Alyssa Cotten and drum roll please. Dun, 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 dun. Your girl crossed 7 figures in her business, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the 7 lessons I learned on my way to 7 figures. I can't even believe it as I'm saying this out loud. It kind of still feels like a pinch me moment. But summer solstice this year, 2024, I crossed 7 figures in revenue. I've had my business since 2017 and we crossed the 7-figure mark. So I have collected over $1 million in cash in my business, and here are the lessons that I have learned. So if that's something you want to see, stay tuned to the end to hear my 7 lessons, insider tips from a 7-figure entrepreneur. So let's rewind. This year I was doing my taxes in February, as one does for tax season. And I was crunching my numbers and I was like, wait a minute. I have a couple of different income streams through my therapy business, my coaching business. And I was tracking the numbers and I was like, OMG, I am 60K away from 7 figures. And I was like, 60K away. That's so easy. That's like 20K months, 18K months, 20. Anyways, so my goal was to hit it in May. And I was like, okay, this is totally doable. I had launched a new program, got some more coaching clients, and I was on track. And then May, there was a lot of travel. I randomly, impromptu went to Paris for my 35th birthday. Here's some photos from that. And then I went to Mexico for a wedding and I didn't hit it. But June, I was in Alaska and it just felt so symbolic. I was back in Alaska. I'm part-time in Florida, part-time in Alaska. And I was back in Alaska in the house that I started my business. And it felt so symbolic that I hit 7 figures when I was back home in Alaska in my home. And I instantly started crying when I did that swipe or credit card processing of the last client that signed up that crossed me over the 7-figure threshold. I just was overconsumed with gratitude. I FaceTimed my family and told them, and I was like crying, and it was a beautiful experience. Anyway, so let me just tell you a little bit about me, my business, and I'm going to dive into the lessons. So in 2017, I started a therapy practice. I had an in-person therapy practice where I strictly just worked with individuals, couples, and families. In 2020, before the world shut down, I had expanded my office so I could start running groups. I could start running trainings for local agencies, companies, kind of that corporate in-service day kind of stuff. That's what I used to run. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. So I pivoted and I went online, and I kind of had like a mental health coaching practice. I had a couple of programs that I launched that were very successful. But in 2023, I kind of just felt this itch. I was preparing for my 7th year in business, and I just kind of felt this need to pivot. So I opened a coaching business where I work with female entrepreneurs, specifically on their money mindset. So I am trained in finance and I'm trained in counseling, and that just the two combos together, I'm able to use the psychology and the strategy of finance and really help individuals grow through releasing and rewiring to hit 7 figures. Other entrepreneurs, I help them achieve their money goals. So let's dive in to the first lesson. Okay, so the first lesson, I've got my notes, so I might be peeping over at it. The first lesson is you need belief and unwavering faith in yourself. People will doubt you. People are going to doubt you every single step of the way. So it has always been a dream of mine to have my own business. Since I was like a little kid with a lemonade stand, I was like, I'm going to be the girl with the business. I didn't know how, I didn't know what. I just knew I wanted to be my own boss. I just knew that at my core. I worked at this hospital. I worked at a couple of agencies, but this hospital job in my town was considered like the creme de la Edgar of agencies to work for. And I was working there for about 6 months and it was just not a good fit. And there was this difficult conversation with the director, my boss, and they asked me if I felt like I was a good fit for the department, which I think is like their way of saying, hey, we don't want you to work here, but we can't fire you because there's nothing you've done, so we want you to leave. Essentially. So the next day I came back in and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to work for someone who wants me to question if I'm a good fit. So I said, oh no, I'm not going to work here anymore. And they were like, oh, they were really shocked. And I started my own counseling practice. So I told my family I was quitting my hospital job in behavioral health. I worked in the addiction unit. I was hosting day treatment, evening treatment, outpatient for addiction, drugs, and alcohol. And when I told my family that I was leaving my safe job to start a counseling practice, you would have thought that I was like going to murder someone. My family was so against it. My husband was against it. Everyone said this is like the worst idea that I could ever do. I'm going to be stuck and I won't be able to have flexibility and I won't have coverage and I won't have benefits and I won't have perks. The list went on of reasons why I shouldn't start the business. Everyone was saying this is not a good idea. They didn't trust me, but I had unwavering faith and unwavering belief that this was my path, my destiny, and I had to just get started. So I really leaned in on friends and colleagues who was there for me. So my old coworkers helped me set up my office. They went furniture shopping with me. They did all the things that I needed, that I wanted from my family, but they just couldn't see the vision. So on your journey, I'm telling you right now, there are going to be people who will not believe you, will not support you, and will not understand your vision. But again, it has nothing to do with you. It's their own fears and their own beliefs getting in the way, because if they think it's possible for you, well, then that means it's possible for them. And a lot of people are not ready to believe that things are possible for them. So it's safer and easier to shut things down than to say, you've got it. You can do it, you can push forward. So really creating a practice of unwavering faith and unwavering belief in your vision, your dreams, and your goals, because the world is going to try to rock your foundation. And if you have a solid foundation, it won't matter what anyone says, because you know and believe that you are meant for more, that you are destined to be a successful entrepreneur. All right, let's go to lesson number 2. Okay, so lesson number 2, your vision does not have to make sense to anyone. When I was ready to pivot from doing one-on-one therapy and doing corporate trainings, my people in my inner circle were like, wait, I thought you were a therapist. Why are you doing corporate trainings? And I was doing corporate trainings for a whole wide range of individuals. I worked with the oil companies. I worked with eye clinics, hospitals. I worked with like board of directors. I worked with interns, you name it. I did corporate trainings for them. I would do their wellness in service, kind of checking that box for them on their new initiatives of wellness and mental health. And my vision didn't make sense to anyone. People were so confused. I thought you were a therapist. What are you doing here? What are you doing there? And that's where it goes back to lesson number 1 of having that unwavering faith. When you have your vision, it's not going to make sense to other people, and that's okay. You got to just put the little blinders on and keep working, keeping moving forward, because you know in your heart, your intuition, that you're destined for more than what you're doing today. Leads me to number 3, put on horse blinders and do the work. Put on those horse blinders and do the inner work. We're going to be looking inward, because entrepreneurship is going to question your whole reality, your belief system. Can I do this? Can I handle this? Am I equipped to be on this path? And what will take away your success is comparison. Comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs who started at the same time, entrepreneurs who started after you and quote unquote have hit more success or hit more financial milestones than you. Or you might see this new trend or this new marketing or this new XYZ, and you might feel this need to jump on it. Put the horse blinders on and follow your own path and your own intuition. Because when you are doing this inner work of challenging those beliefs, those programs that are no longer in alignment with your beautiful vision as a 7-figure entrepreneur, you're going to be able to block out the noise, because a lot of people don't know where you want to go. And that leads me to an awful statistic. Only 2% of female founders will ever hit seven figures. That's like the stats right now. So in a room of 100 entrepreneurs, only two of them will ever hit seven figures. So when I am telling you block out the noise, a lot of the advice and kind of feedback you're going to get is from people who are not where you want to go. You want to be with other seven-figure entrepreneurs, taking advice from someone who's only done a 9 to 5 and their intentions are to help, but that is hurting your belief system that I can do it and it's possible for me. Lesson number 4, you are going to be breaking so many generational patterns on your entrepreneur journey. And when we are breaking generational patterns, for example, I come from a family lineage of no entrepreneurs. There are no entrepreneurs on my mother's side or my father's side. I don't think anyone, not even my cousins, not even my first, second, third, fourth. I have like 50 first cousins, so I have a huge family. I have like 20 aunts and uncles on my mom's side, 20 on my dad's side. So I've got a lot of aunts and uncles, and nobody is an entrepreneur. So when I decided to be an entrepreneur, there was a lot of generational beliefs that I had to release and rewire in order for me to keep going on this entrepreneur journey. So you have to think about yourself. Do you come from a lineage of entrepreneurs? Do you come from a lineage of successful entrepreneurs? Or what about a lineage of entrepreneurs that maybe didn't work out and they failed, and then they installed that belief that entrepreneurship is not the safe route? And when you're breaking these generational programs, beliefs, identities, it's really going to make you want to give up. So often you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to quit. You're going to say, this isn't worth the struggle, the stress. This isn't worth XYZ. And you're going to want to put your hands up and say, I'm done. I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to have a boss. I'm going to clock in. I'm going to clock out. I'm going to be commissioned. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And that's where you have to go back to lesson number 1 is nurturing your belief in yourself. Having that unwavering faith in yourself is going to set you up for success on your entrepreneur journey. Lesson number 5, it is so important, if you take any lessons out of today, having a hobby that can be there for you. Hobbies are the best way to nurture the belief in yourself because hobbies, their sole purpose is unconditional love. So when you are engaging with your hobbies, it's not for you to be smarter, prettier, better looking, make more money. The sole purpose of a hobby is to make you happy. And when you are happy, you have a stronger belief and identity that it is possible for you to achieve your goals. Because when you are anxious or depressed, that is when those limiting beliefs start to grow and expand. Well, I don't even have time for that, or there's no way that could be possible, or I've got too much anxiety to take action. Fear, fear, fear. But hobbies allow you to pause, be back in the present moment, because when we are diving into a hobby, our mind isn't in the future or the past, it's in the present moment. And when we are in the present moment, chef's kiss, that's where we get to have intuitive information, downloads, creative ideas, is when we are in the present moment. My signature program, Financial Flow, came to me when I was engaging in a hobby. Hobbies are going to be your lifeline. Otherwise, you will end up burnt out, overwhelmed, and resentful of your entrepreneur journey. If you're not having fun in the process, you will resent and give up along the way. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, which is why hobbies are so important to help you release that stress and that anxiety on the journey to 7 figures, 8 figures, plus. Lesson number 6, hitting 7 figures. The closer you get to hitting 7 figures, the increase, and I mean the dramatic increase of limiting beliefs will pop off. The closer you get to 7 figures, the more you're going to be questioning, do you even know what you're doing? You're going to feel like an imposter. You're going to feel like a fraud. You will engage in self-sabotage behaviors. Some of my self-sabotage behaviors, the closer I got to 7 figures, was I stopped talking about my business. I just went days without even mentioning the products and services I offer. I stopped posting my podcast. I know, let me tell you, I had audios recorded. I didn't even have to record them. The audios were recorded. I just had to hit edit and upload. I had multiple audios recorded and I didn't post them for 2 months. The Inner Compass podcast is back up and running with weekly episodes, but that was some of my self-sabotage. The closer I got to 7 figures, the limiting beliefs of no one wants to listen to you, no one has to hear what you have to say, who do you think you are? Those limiting beliefs got so loud the closer I hit 7 figures, which I now know is rooted in the fear of success. I also have a tapping video on that inside of my YouTube library, but the fear of success will block and hinder your ability to continue taking the aligned action to those 7 figures. All right, last lesson number 7 to hitting 7 figures in my entrepreneur business. Know when to pivot and don't let your stubbornness get in the way. Pivoting is what allowed me to grow and scale my business, my team of one. I am a solopreneur. I have no team. It allowed me to grow and scale to 7 figures by pivoting. There were so many times I didn't want to pivot. There were so many things that I could have pivoted sooner that would have helped me on my journey, but my stubbornness got in the way. And in 2020, when we were all forced to go online and I pivoted, I created an online component for my business. And at that time, I should have leaned into social media to use to grow and scale my business. But my stubbornness got in the way, and I kept thinking, well, I grew my counseling practice with just a website, no marketing, no ads, no sales, and I had a full wait list for 6 months. I had so many clients that I was turning people down. And when I pivoted to my online coaching business, I had that same mentality of what I did when I started my counseling business, but I needed to pivot because I was now in a different space, the online space, and my stubbornness got in the way. So ask yourself, where is your stubbornness getting in the way from you pivoting and growing and scaling your business to 7 figures? So those are my 7 lessons on my journey to 7 figures. And here is just a bonus lesson along the way. Document everything. I wish I would have documented those really hard days, those low points when I would host a masterclass and I would promote it for weeks and weeks and weeks and no one would show up, and I would cry and I would say, what is going wrong? I would want to give up. But I felt too embarrassed to document that because it felt like shame of acknowledging that I was struggling and that I was struggling as an entrepreneur. And it felt really counterintuitive to document the low times. And now, as I'm on the other side, I have hundreds of people who sign up for my offerings and my programs and my master classes. I am no longer speaking to crickets. I wish I would have documented to showcase and show and highlight that journey experience of starting my business, being a small business, getting an LLC, becoming an S Corp, starting a second business, growing and scaling and hitting 7 figures. I would love to know what you thought about my 7 lessons on my journey to 7 figures. Definitely let me know in the comments section below, and let's build some community together. Let me know if you are an entrepreneur, and let me know if you have products and services, and share in the comment section below, and let's support each other's businesses. I'm so grateful to have you in today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. I release videos out every single week and I can't wait to see you in the next video.